Hello and welcome. You have traveled far. Not across land, not across sea, but across the boundary between the world that rushes and the world that waits. You have arrived at a place of deep quiet, a place of starlight and stone. It is time to leave the day behind. It is time to find the stillness within. Let us begin with the breath, always with the breath. It is our anchor. Breathe in slowly. Feel the air enter you, cool, clean, and alive. Hold it just for a moment at the very peak, a point of perfect balance. And now breathe out. A long, slow release, a silent letting go. Feel your body respond. Feel your shoulders soften. Feel the tiny muscles around your eyes smooth out. You are here. You are safe, and it is time to be calm. Our journey tonight takes us to a place that stands alone. We are in a vast, empty landscape. Perhaps it is a great rolling moor covered in soft, dry heather. Perhaps it is a wide, flat plain where only short, tough grasses grow. It does not matter. What matters is the emptiness, the vastness, the profound stillness. It is night, a perfect, clear night. There are no clouds, none at all. The sky is a dome of the deepest black velvet, and it is ablaze. It is ablaze with stars, not the few pale stars you might see from a city. No, this is the true sky. The sky far away from any lights. There are millions of stars. Billions. They are not just white dots. They are different colors. Some are a sharp icy blue. Some are a soft creamy yellow. Some are a fierce fiery red. They are scattered like diamond dust across the blackness. And the Milky Way, the great river of stars, is a visible cloud, a luminous misty band stretching from horizon to horizon. It is a sight of such immense beauty and such profound silence that it makes your breath catch. It is the universe revealed. The air is cool. It is not a biting winter cold. It is a gentle autumn coolness, crisp and clean. It smells of the earth, of dry grasses, of damp moss on stone, and it smells faintly of distance. The clean, empty scent of pure air that has traveled over miles of open land. There is no wind. The air is perfectly still. The only sound is the sound of your own breathing. And perhaps far, far away the sound of a tiny stream, or the rustle of a small nocturnal creature. But mostly it is silence, a silence that rings in your ears, a silence that holds the light of the stars. You are standing on a small path, a path made of flattened earth and small stones. It winds gently through the dark landscape. You are wrapped warmly, a soft cloak or a thick sweater. Your feet are on the solid ground. You feel connected, grounded. Even under this vast cosmic display, you look ahead, along the path. And in the distance, rising from the dark, rolling land, is your destination. The tower. It is not a castle tower. It is not a fortress. It is a simple structure. A tall, slender cylinder of pale gray stone. It looks ancient, as if it grew here, as if it is a natural part of the landscape. It rises up perhaps 100 feet. Its top is rounded like an observatory dome. But it is made of stone, not glass. It stands alone, a single finger pointing at the starry sky. It is a place of solitude, a place of watching, a place of quiet work. The tower is dark. The pale stone seems to absorb the starlight. It is a sleeping guardian, except for one small detail, high up near the very top, just below the rounded stone roof. There is a window, a single large arched window, and from this window a light is shining. It is not the cold blue light of the stars. No, this is a warm light, a steady, unflickering golden glow. It is the color of candlelight, or of a warm hearth. It is a tiny square of pure warm gold, set against the cool gray stone and the black starry sky. It is the only sign of life, the only sign of humanity for miles around. It is a beacon. It is a promise of shelter, of warmth, of peace. This is the home of Ilara, the cartographer, the maker of maps. Maps not of this world, but of worlds imagined. Worlds dreamed. You begin to walk. You leave your spot under the open sky. You follow the small winding path toward the tower. Your footsteps are quiet on the soft earth, a gentle padding sound, the only sound that moves with you. The cool, clean air touches your face. It smells of dry heather and damp earth. The stars above are a silent company. They seem to turn slowly as you walk. The great river of the Milky Way shifts across the sky. Time is moving even in this still place. The tower grows larger as you approach. You can see the texture of the stone now. It is old stone, weathered, worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain. There are patches of dark green moss clinging to the base. It looks solid, permanent, as if it has roots that go deep into the earth. You can feel a sense of its age, of its silence, of its strength. You arrive at the base. You stand at the foot of the great stone cylinder. You look up. It rises straight up into the starry darkness. The single golden window high above looks down at you, a warm, welcoming eye. There is a door, set deep into the stone. It is not a grand door. It is a small door, arched at the top, made of heavy, dark oak wood. The wood is almost black with age. It is bound with bands of dark iron. There is no handle, only a large iron ring and a keyhole. It looks like the door to a secret. You have no key. You do not need one. You reach out. Your hand touches the old wood. It is rough. The grain is deep. It is cool to the touch, but not cold. You knock. You lift the heavy iron ring and let it fall once. The sound is not loud. It is a deep, solid sound of iron striking wood. A low, resonant sound that seems to be instantly swallowed by the stone. It does not echo. It is a quiet request. You wait. You stand in the cool night air. You listen. The silence returns. Only the faint, distant sound of your own breathing. You look up at the stars. You wait patiently. There is no hurry here. Time moves differently, and then you hear it. From deep inside the tower, a faint sound. The sound of heavy bolts being drawn back. A slow scraping sound of metal on metal. A sound of opening. A sound of welcome. Someone is home. Someone is expecting you. The door before you remains closed. But you know it is now unlocked. You reach for the iron ring. It is cold and heavy. You pull. The heavy oak door begins to move. You pull the iron ring. The heavy ancient oak door moves inward. It does not swing easily. It moves with a slow, deliberate weight. A weight of centuries. It makes a sound as it moves. Not a sharp creak, no, it is a low, deep groaning sound. The sound of wood fibers that have held their shape for longer than memory, shifting just slightly. It is the sound of age. The sound of something ancient waking slowly. It is a sound of history. As the door opens, a new air meets you. It pours out from the darkness within the tower. It is not the cool, crisp, clean, starry air of the moor. No, this air is different. It is warmer. Noticeably warmer, not hot, but a gentle, still, womb-like warmth. It feels ancient. It feels undisturbed. And it carries a scent as old as the tower itself. It is the smell of stone, old dry stone, and the smell of dust. Not the dust of neglect, but the dust of ages, the dust of silence. And beneath that, a faint, almost imperceptible smell. Something faintly sweet. Perhaps beeswax? Or old dry herbs. It is the smell of a place where someone lives quietly, where someone works patiently. It is the smell of peace. You step across the threshold. You leave the cool, starry night. You leave the faint scent of heather and earth. You step into the tower. Your foot leaves the damp, earthy path. It meets stone. A floor of large, flat, uneven flagstones. They feel incredibly solid beneath your feet. Cold, but solid. You are inside. You are in the base of the tower. You pull the heavy oak door closed behind you. It moves slowly back into its frame. It shuts, not with a sharp slam, but with a deep, resonant sound. A sound of heavy wood meeting heavy stone. A sound of finality. A sound of sealing. The cool night air is gone. The sound of the silence of the moor is gone. You are now in a new silence. The silence of the tower. It is a different kind of silence. It is not empty. It is full of age, full of stillness, full of the weight of the stone around you. It presses gently on your ears. It is a heavy velvet quiet. You stand in absolute darkness. There is no light at the base of the tower, no window, no lamp. You cannot see your hand in front of your face, but it is not a frightening darkness. It is a calm darkness, a cool darkness. You feel safe, enclosed, protected by the immense thickness of the ancient stone walls. You can feel their presence around you. Solid, unmoving, eternal, you stand for a long moment, letting your eyes adjust, or rather letting your senses adjust. You are in a small circular space, the base of the tower. The air is still, so incredibly still. It feels thick, ancient. You breathe it in, the smell of dust and stone. It is the smell of time itself. And then you see it, not with your eyes, but you sense it, ahead of you. The beginning of the stairs. You move forward slowly, your hands outstretched gently. Your feet shuffle softly on the cold stone floor. Your hand brushes against the wall, the inner wall of the tower. It is stone. Rough stone. It is cool to the touch, almost cold but dry. You follow the curve, round and round, and then your foot finds the first step. It is stone. A solid block of stone, worn in the center, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps. You have found the path upward. You place your foot firmly on the stone step. You begin your ascent. You place your right hand on the curved inner wall. It is your guide. The stone is cool and rough but familiar. You take another step and another. The stairs are narrow. They curve tightly upward into the darkness. Your footsteps make a sound, not the sharp clang of metal stairs, not the soft thud of wooden stairs. No, this is the sound of soft shoe leather on ancient stone. It is a soft scraping sound, a gentle padding sound, a sound of quiet effort. It echoes faintly, not loudly. The stone absorbs most of the sound, but a faint whisper of your passage travels up into the darkness ahead of you and down into the darkness below. It is the only sound, the sound of your quiet climb. You climb, up and up, round and round. The spiral is tight. You are enclosed. You are in the very heart of the stone. It is like climbing up inside a great stone tree. Your hand slides along the cool, rough wall. Your feet find each worn step with certainty. Your breathing is slow and steady. This is not a race. It is not a struggle. It is a meditation. A slow, rhythmic climb, step to breath, step to breath. The rhythm of your own body joins the silence of the tower. As you climb, the air begins to change. The cool, almost cold stillness of the base begins to recede. Slowly, gradually, you begin to feel a difference. The air is becoming warmer. Not warm yet, but less cold. The deep stone chill is lifting. You are rising towards the source of that golden light, towards the place where Elara lives and works. The warmth is faint at first, just a hint, a suggestion, but it is enough. It is a promise, a welcome, and the scent changes too. The pure smell of dust and stone begins to mingle with something else. That faint sweetness you detected at the door, it is stronger now. It is definitely beeswax, the warm honeyed scent of pure beeswax candles, and something else, something drier, sharper, the scent of old paper, of parchment, and a faint, tangy, metallic scent, ink. The air is becoming infused with the smell of the workshop above, the smell of creation, the smell of maps. It is a beautiful scent, clean and warm and full of history. You breathe it in. It is like inhaling the aroma of an ancient library, mixed with the sweetness of a summer hive. You continue to climb. Step, scrape, breath. Step, scrape, breath. The darkness is still absolute. You cannot see the step above you. You cannot see the wall your hand is touching. You are moving by feel, by instinct, trusting the ancient stone, trusting the path. Your hand on the wall feels the texture, the roughness, the coolness. The solidarity. Your feet feel the worn smoothness in the center of each step, the slight dip where countless feet have trod. You are following in the footsteps of generations, of watchmen, of hermits, of scholars, of dreamers. You are a part of the tower's story, higher and higher. The curve is constant, always turning left, always rising. The air is noticeably warmer now. It is a comfortable room temperature. The scent of beeswax and parchment is strong. It fills your senses. And then you see it ahead and above. Not a light, not yet, but a change. A faint lessening of the absolute blackness. A hint of something, a glow. It is coming from around the next curve. It is the light. The golden light from the window you saw from outside. The light of Ilara's room. Your steps quicken just a little. Not rushing, but drawn forward. Drawn by the promise of light and warmth. You round the final curve, and the light is there. It is not a bright light. It is soft. It is golden. It is flickering. It is spilling down the last few steps, painting the ancient grey stone with warm dancing gold. It is candlelight, pure, simple, beautiful candlelight. It illuminates the end of your journey. The top of the stairs, you climb the last few steps. You step out of the narrow, enclosed spiral. You step into an open space. You step into the light. Your foot leaves the last stone step. It lands not on stone, but on wood. Old dark wooden planks, worn, smooth, solid, warm. You have arrived. You stand at the top of the stairs. You are in the room. The circular room at the very top of the tower. The room where Ilara works. The room where the maps are made. You have completed your ascent. You have moved from the cold, starry night through the deep stone heart of the tower, and you have emerged here, in this warm, golden, candlelit sanctuary. You stand still. You breathe in the warm air rich with the scent of beeswax and paper, and you look around. You begin to take in the details of this magical place. You stand at the threshold, the top of the winding stone stairs. You have emerged from the cool dark, climb into this pocket of warmth and light. You pause, allowing your senses to fully arrive, to acclimate to this sudden, gentle shift. The air is warm. A dry, steady, comfortable warmth. It feels ancient, like the air in the stairwell, but this warmth is alive. It is generated. It is maintained. It carries the scent so strongly now. The scent of beeswax is foremost. A sweet, heavy, slightly floral perfume. The smell of 1,000 burning candles. Beneath it, the dry, almost dusty scent of old paper, of parchment, of scrolls. And mingled with that, the sharp, tangy, almost metallic scent of ink. Different kinds of ink. Black ink, colored inks. It is the smell of a scriptorium. The smell of a library, devoted not to reading but to creating. It is the smell of Ilara's art and the light. The light is beautiful. It is not the even white light of the station corridor. It is not the single focused beam of the watchmaker's lamp. No, this room is lit by candlelight. Only candlelight. There are perhaps a dozen tall candles, placed strategically around the circular room. They stand in heavy, simple holders, some brass, some dark iron, some simple clay. The candles themselves are thick, made of pure yellow beeswax, and their flames are alive. They are not static. They dance. They flicker. They sway gently in the almost imperceptible currents of warm air rising in the room. Each flame is a teardrop of soft golden light, and together these dozen dancing flames fill the room, not with brightness but with glow, a deep, warm, honey-colored glow. It is a light that creates shadows, deep, soft, moving shadows. The room itself seems to flicker gently, to breathe with the light. It is a living light, a light that feels ancient and magical. The room is circular. The outer wall is the continuation of the stone tower. Rough, pale grey stone, solid, ancient. But the inner spaces are defined by wood. Tall, dark wooden shelves line much of the curved wall. They are filled not with clocks but with scrolls. Hundreds, perhaps thousands of scrolls, rolled tightly, tied with ribbons of different colors, or bound with leather straps. They are made of parchment, of paper, of strange woven fibers. They stand in neat rows like sleeping soldiers, each one a map, each one a world, each one a secret. The candlelight catches the edges of the rolled parchment. It makes them glow softly. It is a library of places that never were. Or perhaps places that might be. Between the shelves are the windows. There are 3 large arched windows set deep into the stone. They look out onto the vast starry night. One window faces the direction you arrived from. Through it you can see the dark, rolling landscape below, bathed in the cold blue light of the stars. The other windows face different directions. They face space. From this high tower the horizon is low. The sky dominates. And what a sky! The same breathtaking tapestry of stars you saw outside. The river of the Milky Way. The sharp points of blue and red giants. But here, framed by the stone arches, it looks like a painting. A living cosmic painting. And through one window you can see it, the nebula. A vast breathtaking cloud of interstellar gas and dust. It is not white. It is colored. Swirls of deep purple, veins of vibrant pink, hints of ethereal green. It hangs in the blackness like a great cosmic flower, or a celestial dragon. It is silent, majestic, and impossibly beautiful. The windows are portals to the infinite, and in the center of the room, dominating the space, is the table. It is huge, a massive round table, made of a dark, heavy wood, perhaps oak. Its surface is not polished. It is worn, scratched, stained with 1,000 rings from mugs and drips of ink. It is a working surface, a surface with a history. And it is covered almost entirely by the map. The map Ilara is working on, it is vast. It takes up the entire tabletop. It is made of a single huge sheet of thick, aged parchment, the color of old ivory. Its edges are uneven. It looks like an ancient treasure map. But it is not of treasure. It is of worlds. You cannot see the details yet. Only the scale, the ambition, the beautiful complexity. And around the map, on the small remaining spaces of the tabletop, are the tools. It is a controlled clutter, a beautiful organized chaos. There are pots of ink, small stone pots, capped with corks. You can see the dark stain of black ink around one, the bright stain of blue around another. There are quills, not simple feathers. These are long, elegant feathers from some large, unknown bird. Perhaps white, perhaps gray. Their tips are sharpened to perfect points. They rest in a simple wooden stand, waiting. There are rulers, made of brass, long and heavy, marked with strange, delicate symbols. There are compasses, also brass, with sharp steel points, for drawing perfect circles, arcs, measuring distances. There are small velvet cloths for wiping, nibs, small blocks of beeswax for smoothing parchment. It is an alchemist's table, a place where ink and paper and imagination are transformed into reality. And then you see her, Ilara, the cartographer. She is seated on a tall, simple wooden stool on the far side of the great round table. You see her back. She is small, slender. She is wearing simple, dark clothes, perhaps a tunic of dark wool. Her hair is long and dark. It is tied back simply. She is leaning forward, intensely focused. Her entire being is aimed downward at the map. One hand rests gently on the parchment, holding it still. The other hand holds a quill. She is not moving. She is paused, in thought, or perhaps just listening to the quiet, listening to the stars. The only sound in the room besides your own quiet breathing is the sound of the candles. It is a sound so faint it is almost not a sound. A tiny, soft, whispering sound. The sound of the flames consuming the wax. A sound like a tiny, gentle breath. It is the sound of the light itself. The sound of the warmth. It is a sound that only adds to the deep, profound peace of the room. You do not speak. You do not move. You would not dream of breaking this spell. You are a guest, a silent observer. You have been granted access to a sacred space, a place of quiet creation, A place where worlds are born from ink and dreams. You stand just inside the room at the top of the stairs. You are bathed in the warm golden flickering light. You breathe in the ancient scent of beeswax and parchment. You listen to the whisper of the candles, and you watch. You watch the still focused figure of Ilara, the cartographer, the dreamer, the maker of maps. You have arrived. You are here, and you are at peace. You stand in the quiet, warm golden glow. The air is thick with the sweet perfume of beeswax and the dry ancient scent of parchment. The only sound is the almost inaudible whisper of the dozen, candle flames dancing softly in the still air. Ilara the cartographer sits at the vast round table, her back to you, a small still figure lost in thought or perhaps listening to the stars outside the arched windows. Then she moves. The stillness is broken, but it is broken gently. Her movement is not sudden. It is fluid, slow, deliberate, like a dancer beginning a slow, familiar sequence. She does not turn. She does not look up. Her focus remains inward, or perhaps on the great map spread before her. She places the quill she was holding down. She lays it gently in its wooden stand among its brethren. Her hand, small and pale in the candlelight, hovers over the parchment for a moment. And then she rises. She slides gracefully off the tall wooden stool. Her feet, clad in soft, simple slippers, make almost no sound on the old wooden floorboards. She straightens. She is small, but her posture is poised. She takes a slow, deep breath. The kind of breath one takes before beginning a sacred task. And she begins her ritual. The ritual of preparation. Her first act is to tend to the light, the candles that illuminate her world. She turns away from the table. She moves silently into the shadows that ring, the central pool of light. She approaches, one of the tall candles standing in a heavy iron holder near a bookshelf filled with scrolls. The candle has been burning for some time. It is halfway down. The flame is steady, but the wick is long. It needs attention. She reaches to a small niche in the stone wall. Her hand finds what it seeks, a small pair of brass wick trimmers. They are shaped like tiny, elegant scissors, with a small box attached to catch the soot. She lifts the tool. It gleams softly in the ambient light. She approaches the candle. She brings the trimmers up to the flame. She does not hesitate. She positions the blades carefully around the glowing wick just above the pool of melted wax, and she snips. There is a tiny, almost inaudible sound, a soft cutting sound. The burning tip of the wick falls into the small brass box. It extinguishes instantly with a tiny puff of dark smoke and a faint acrid smell that is quickly swallowed by the sweet scent of beeswax, and the flame responds instantly. It was a steady flame, but now it is perfect. It shrinks for a fraction of a second, and then it swells back, smaller than before, brighter, purer, more focused. It dances with a new vigor, a perfect golden teardrop. She moves to the next candle. She repeats the ritual, the approach, the positioning of the tool, the gentle snip, the puff of smoke, the rebirth of the flame, smaller, brighter, perfect. She moves around the room, a silent priestess tending her sacred flames. Each candle is treated with the same care, the same gentle precision. The room, which was already bathed in a warm golden glow now, seems to become just a little brighter, a little cleaner. The shadows seem a little softer. The air feels lighter. The ritual of the light is complete. The room is prepared. Now she returns to the table. She glides silently back into the central space. She stands before the great round table covered in the vast map. She looks down at her tools, her instruments, her partners in creation. She begins to arrange them, not randomly, but with a clear purpose, a sense of order. She reaches for the quills, the long, elegant feathers resting in their stand. She lifts one, a large white feather, perhaps from a swan or an albatross. She holds it up to the candlelight. She inspects the tip, the nib. It has been cut by hand to a perfectly sharp point, with a tiny slit down the center to hold the ink. She nods to herself. It is ready. She places it carefully on a small wooden rest on the table. Ready for the black ink. She selects another quill, smaller, grayer. She inspects its point. It is even finer. For more delicate work, she places it beside the first. She selects a third. This one has a wider nib, cut square, for lettering perhaps, or for filling larger areas. She places it with the others. Her chosen voices for the night. She reaches for the ink pots, small heavy stone containers. She picks up the one stained with black. She uncorks it. The cork makes a soft squeaking sound as it releases. She sets the cork down. She peers into the pot. The ink is a deep absolute black. It smells faintly sharp, metallic, perhaps made with oak, galls and iron, the scent of permanence. She places it carefully near the large white quill. She picks up another pot. This one stained blue. She uncorks it. The scent is different, sweeter, perhaps made from crushed lapis lazuli or some magical flower. The color is a deep ocean blue. She places it near the gray quill. A third pot, red, the color of rubies, or dried blood. It smells earthy. She places it near the square-cut quill. Her palette is prepared. Black for coastlines and borders, blue for rivers and seas, red for mountains or cities or warnings, the colors of her world. Now the tools of measurement. She picks up a long, heavy brass ruler. It gleams warmly in the candlelight. Its edges are perfectly straight. Its markings are tiny and precise. She lays it along the edge of the map, parallel to the world. She picks up a large brass compass. It has two long arms. One ends in a sharp steel point. The other has a clamp to hold a tiny piece of graphite or a special inking pen. She checks the hinge. It moves smoothly. She places it near the ruler. She selects a smaller compass for finer circles. She lays it beside the first. Her instruments of geometry, of order, of truth. She takes a small velvet cloth, dark green. She gently wipes the nib of each quill, ensuring they are perfectly clean, ready to receive the ink. She takes a small block of smooth white stone, pumice perhaps. She rubs it gently over a small area of the parchment where she intends to work, smoothing the fibers, preparing the surface, making it ready to accept the line. The stone makes a faint, dry, whispering sound on the parchment. Her table is set. Her tools are ready. Her map is waiting. Now she prepares herself. She turns away from the table again. She moves to a small alcove in the stone wall. In this alcove is a tiny shelf. And on the shelf sits a small, simple setup. A tiny brass spirit lamp, a small copper kettle, a stone jar filled with dried herbs, and a single dark ceramic mug. The mug from our thumbnail. She picks up the spirit lamp. She checks its fuel. She places it on a stone platform. She takes a long wooden splint. She lights it from one of the nearby candles. The wood catches with a small flare. She brings the flame to the wick of the spirit lamp. The wick ignites with a soft blue flame, a tiny, almost invisible flame, but it is hot. She blows out the wooden splint. She places the small copper kettle filled with water on the tiny brass stand above the blue flame. Now she must wait. She does not stand impatiently. She leans against the cool stone wall. She watches the tiny blue flame. She listens to the quiet room, the whisper of the candles, the silence from the stars outside. She is a creature of patience. Her work requires it. Her life requires it. She waits calmly, peacefully. After a few minutes, a new sound joins the room. A faint, faint sound from the copper kettle. A low humming sound. The sound of water beginning to stir. The sound of heat entering the liquid. The hum grows slowly. It becomes a gentle, simmering sound. And then a wisp of steam appears from the kettle's spout. Thin and white. It rises into the warm air. It carries the clean mineral scent of hot water. The water is ready. She reaches for the stone jar. She lifts its heavy lid. The aroma that rises is not strong. It is gentle. It is the scent of dried chamomile flowers, and perhaps a hint of lemon balm. A calming scent. A focusing scent. She takes a small wooden spoon. She scoops a measure of the pale yellow and green herbs. She lifts the dark ceramic mug. She places the herbs inside. She lifts the hot copper kettle, using a small cloth pad. The copper is hot. She pours the steaming water over the herbs. A cloud of steam billows up, carrying the scent of chamomile and lemon. A bright, warm, sleepy scent. She fills the mug. She places the kettle back. She takes a small wooden disc and covers the mug to let it steep, to let the herbs release their gentle magic. Her preparations are complete. The light is tended. The tools are arranged. The tea is brewing. She is ready. The room is ready. The map is waiting. She picks up the warm, covered mug. She holds it in both hands. She breathes in its scent, and she walks slowly back to the great round table, back to her stool, back to her work, back to her worlds. The night of creation can now truly begin. Elara returns to her stool. She carries the dark ceramic mug, covered with its small wooden lid, cupped gently in both hands. The warmth radiates through the ceramic into her palms. The gentle scent of chamomile and lemon balm rises, a subtle calming cloud. She moves with quiet grace around the vast circumference of the great round table. Her soft slippers make no sound on the dark wooden floor. The candlelight dances, casting her moving shadow long and soft against the curved stone wall and the tall shelves filled with sleeping scrolls. She reaches her place, her tall wooden stool. She does not sit immediately. First, she places the warm mug down. She sets it carefully on a small cork mat already waiting on the table's surface, nestled between a pot of black ink and a heavy brass ruler. The mug sits a small dark tower, emitting its gentle plume of fragrant steam, its warmth a tiny anchor in the vast landscape of the map. Now she settles. She slides onto the stool. It is a simple stool. No back, no cushion, but her posture is perfect. Years of practice, years of focus. She sits poised, alert, but relaxed. Her gaze is down. Her world is before her. The map. It covers almost the entire surface of the enormous round table. It is a continent, an ocean, a world spread out under the warm, flickering dance of the candlelight. It is made of parchment. Not bright white paper, no, this is animal skin, prepared, stretched, and smoothed by hand. Centuries ago, perhaps, the color is not uniform. It is a landscape in itself, varying shades of deep ivory, pale cream, soft fawn. There are areas where the parchment is thinner, almost translucent, and the candlelight shines faintly through it from behind. There are areas where it is thicker, more opaque, with a rougher texture. You can see faintly the memory of the skin it once was. Tiny imperfections, scars, character. It feels alive in the texture. Elara rests her left hand palm down gently on an empty area of the map, an area representing perhaps a calm sea. She feels the parchment beneath her skin. It is not cold like the stone walls. It is not warm like her mug. It is cool, but not cold. It has the temperature of the room, of the still air, and it is smooth, incredibly smooth, smoothed by age, smoothed by touch, smoothed by the constant, gentle pressure of the cartographer's hand. It feels like cool, dry silk, or perhaps like polished bone. It is a surface that invites touch, a surface that holds stories and the smell. You lean in just slightly in your mind. You breathe in the air that hangs just above the map. It is a complex aroma. It is the smell of the parchment itself. A dry, faintly sweet, almost musky scent. The scent of preserved history. Mixed with that is the sharper tang of the inks. The dark iron gall ink, the brighter mineral pigments of the blues and reds. And beneath it all, the constant sweet perfume of the beeswax candles that illuminate this world. It is a smell that speaks of quiet labor, of focused creation, of timeless craft, And then your eyes begin to explore, to travel across this vast, silent world. It is a map unlike any you have seen. It is not a map of known lands. It is not a map for soldiers or merchants. This is a map of peace, a map of quiet places, a map drawn from dreams, or perhaps from the stars themselves. The lines are drawn with impossible precision. The coastlines are intricate, tiny bays, gentle curves, islands like scattered jewels in pale blue oceans. The lines are drawn in the deepest black ink, but the ink is not flat. It seems to have a depth, a faint internal shimmer, as if the lines themselves contain a tiny spark of the magic they describe. This is the subtle sparkle from the animation, prompt, not a movement, just a hint of life within the ink itself. A quiet magic your eyes follow a coastline. It winds gently, no sharp jagged cliffs, only soft sloping shores, beaches drawn with tiny stippled dots in a pale sand color. You can almost feel the soft sand. Hear the gentle lap of the imagined water. The sea itself is rendered in washes of blue, pale cerulean near the coast, deepening to a rich indigo in the vast open spaces. Tiny wave patterns are drawn with a fine white ink, suggesting calm, gentle swells, not storms. Never storms, your gaze moves inland, across continents drawn with soft, earthy tones, pale greens, warm ochres, soft browns. There are forests, vast forests. They are drawn not as rough symbols, but with tiny individual trees, each one a small, perfect shape. They look soft, rounded like moss. The name written in elegant script nearby reads, "The Whispering Woods." You can imagine the sound, not a howl, just a gentle rustle, a soft sighing of leaves. A place of deep quiet and gentle secrets. There are rivers. They wind across the land like blue silk ribbons. They are drawn with a smooth flowing line. No sharp turns, no rapids, just a gentle meandering course. One great river flows from a range of mountains down to the sea. Its name is written beside it. The River Lethe. The river of forgetting, not of sadness, but of release. A place to let go of worries, to let go of the past. The water looks cool and clear. You can almost hear its gentle murmur. And the mountains. There are mountains rising from the plains, but they are not sharp or threatening. They are not jagged peaks of ice and rock. No, these mountains are drawn with soft, rounded lines. They look like great sleeping beasts, covered in a soft green mantle. They are shaded with a pale, misty gray ink suggesting distance, suggesting haze, suggesting dreaminess. Their name is written in a sleepy, curving script, the Sleepy Mountains. They look like a place where one could rest, a place of deep quiet and ancient slumber. There are no cities marked on this map, no fortresses, no battlefields, no roads even. There are only natural places, forests, rivers, mountains, seas, perhaps a tiny symbol here and there, a small circle that might be a quiet village, a tiny square that might be a hermit's hut, a single standing stone. But mostly it is a map of the wild, the gentle wild. The peaceful wild Ilara's hand rests on this world, her fingertips gently touching the summit of one of the sleepy mountains. She is not just drawing this world, she is in this world. This map is her meditation, it is her prayer, it is her escape. And it is her gift to those who need a place to rest, a place to dream. You look closer at the area where she is about to work. It is a coastline, an unfinished coastline. The black ink line stops abruptly. Beyond it is only the pale, empty expanse of the parchment, waiting for her quill, waiting for her imagination, waiting for the next gentle curve, the next quiet bay, the next whispering inlet. This is where the world is still being born. Right here, under the warm golden light, under her calm, focused gaze, you feel a sense of deep calm just looking at it, a sense of wonder, a sense of peace. This map is not just lines on parchment. It is a spell, a gentle spell of tranquility. It is an invitation to explore these quiet lands, to walk in the whispering woods, to float on the river Lethe, to rest among the sleepy mountains. It is an invitation to dream. And Ilara is the dreamer. She is the guide, and her work is about to begin. Ilara sits poised before the vast ancient sea of parchment. Her left hand rests gently on the cool, smooth surface, a human anchor in this world of her own making. Her right hand hovers for a moment. She has surveyed her tools. Her light is perfect. Her tea waits steaming softly beside her. The tower is silent save for the whisper of the candles. The universe outside the arched windows is a breathtaking, silent spectacle of stars and nebula. The moment is perfect, still pregnant with potential. It is time to draw. It is time to create. Her right hand moves slowly, deliberately. It moves to the small wooden stand where the quills rest. Her fingers, long and slender, approach the large white feather, the one she selected for the black ink. She does not snatch it. She lifts it reverently. The feather is long. It balances perfectly in her hand. The shaft is smooth and cool. The barbs of the feather are soft and white, catching the candlelight. It is beautiful. A tool made by nature, adapted by skill. She holds it lightly, poised. Her gaze is fixed on the map, on the point where the black ink line of the coastline stops, the edge of the known dream. She knows where the line must go. She can see it in her mind, a gentle curve, a small sheltered cove, a place where imagined boats could find safe harbor. She is ready. Her hand holding the quill moves toward the ink pot, the small stone pot filled with the deep absolute black. She brings the tip, the sharp, perfectly cut nib down. She does not plunge it. She dips it gently. The very tip of the quill enters the dark liquid. It makes no sound, just a tiny disturbance on the surface of the ink. She holds it there for a moment, allowing the ink to be drawn up into the tiny slit in the nib. By capillary action, by magic, she lifts the quill. Slowly, a single perfect dark drop of ink hangs from the very tip for a fraction of a second, shining like a black pearl in the golden light. And then it is drawn back up into the quill. It is ready. It holds its potential, its dark creative energy. She brings the quill across the map. Her hand is steady, so steady, it floats above the surface of the parchment. Her arm rests lightly on the edge of the table. She positions the tip just at the very end of the existing line. She pauses. She breathes in. She breathes out. And then she touches down. The tip of the quill meets the cool, smooth ivory surface of the parchment. Contact, and she begins to move. Not fast, oh no, slowly. With infinite care, she draws the quill across the surface, and behind it a line is born, a perfect thin line of deep black ink. It flows from the quill like a tiny dark river. It soaks just slightly into the fibers of the parchment. It becomes a part of the world. She draws the curve, the gentle sweep of the cove she imagined. Her hand moves with a grace that comes from years of practice. It is not just her hand moving. It is her whole arm, her shoulder, her body swaying just slightly on the stool. She is dancing with the line and the sound. There is a sound. It is the most delicate sound in the room. It is the sound of the quill tip moving across the parchment. It is not a scratch. The parchment is too smooth. The quill is too perfect. No, it is a whisper. A faint, dry shh. A sound like sand falling on silk. A sound like a tiny snake moving through dry leaves. It is the sound of creation. The sound of a world being written into existence. Shh. The sound is barely audible beneath the gentle whisper of the candles. But it is there. It is the focus, the heartbeat of the moment. She completes the curve. The cove is formed. She lifts the quill. The line stops perfectly. She pauses. She looks. She nods almost imperceptibly. It is good. She dips the quill again. That silent moment of connection with the ink. She brings it back. She begins a new line. continuing the coast, a gentle headland, a long sweeping beach. Shh. The sound continues, steady, calm, hypnotic. She is not thinking in words. She is thinking in lines, in shapes, in places. She is channeling something, bringing it forth from her mind, through her arm, through the feather, through the ink onto the ancient skin. And as the ink flows, as the line is laid down, something magical happens. It is subtle, almost invisible, but it is there. The ink is not just black. As it settles into the parchment, as it begins to dry, tiny, tiny sparkles appear within it. Not glitter, no, more like heat haze, or like the faintest dusting of crushed stars. They appear and they fade. They shimmer gently. They are not moving objects. They are a part of the ink itself, a sign that this is not just a drawing. It is an enchantment. A map infused with a gentle, sleepy magic. The sparkles catch the flickering candlelight. They make the lines seem to breathe, to live. It is a secret shared between the map and the light. Ilara works on, line by line, curve by curve. She maps the edge of the land. She gives it form. She gives it definition. Shh. The whisper of the quill is the only sound of action. Dip, lift, position, draw. Lift, dip, lift, position, draw, lift. It is a rhythm, a dance, a meditation. Her breathing is slow and even. Her focus is absolute. She is lost in the act, lost in the world she is creating. After some time, the coastline is complete. The black ink line now defines a new province, a new land ready to be explored. She places the white quill back in its stand. She reaches for the gray quill, the finer one. She dips it not in the black ink, but in the blue, the pot of deep ocean blue. She lifts it. She brings it to the map. And now she begins to draw a river that flows from the foothills of the distant, sleepy mountains across a pale, osier plain and empties into the newly drawn cove. The line is finer. The sound is even quieter. A barely audible shh. The blue ink flows. It is a brighter color. It looks cool and wet on the dry parchment. And it too sparkles faintly, like sunlight on water. She draws the river's gentle curves, its meanders. She gives it life. She gives it a path, a journey to the sea. She works in the golden light. The candles flicker, casting long dancing shadows. The room is filled with the scent of beeswax and ink. The tower is silent. The stars outside are cold and distant. But here in this room a world is being born, line by gentle line, whisper by quiet whisper. It is an act of pure peace, an act of focused love, an act of gentle magic. And you are witnessing it, held in the same peace, wrapped in the same warm quiet, watching the map unfold, watching the dream take shape. The river is complete, the fine blue line sparkling faintly with its own subtle magic, now winds its way across the pale, ochre plain from the soft grey foothills of the sleepy mountains down to the newly drawn sheltered cove on the coast. It has found its path. It has reached the sea. Ilara lifts the fine grey quill. The line stops, perfectly. She holds the quill suspended above the parchment for a moment. A tiny droplet of blue ink clings to the nib, a perfect sapphire tear. She moves slowly. She reaches for a small pot filled with clean water. She dips the quill tip gently into the water, swirls it once, twice. The blue ink clouds faintly in the water. She lifts it. She reaches for a soft velvet cloth. She draws the nib gently across the fabric, wiping it clean, leaving only a faint blue stain on the dark velvet. The quill is clean. Its voice is silenced for now. She places it back in its wooden stand. Its work is done. And with that small final act, a stillness descends. The tiny whispering sound of the quill moving across the parchment ceases, and the room returns to its deeper, fundamental quiet. The quiet defined only by the soft breath of the candle flames, and the vast cosmic silence beyond the walls. Ilara remains seated on her stool, but her posture changes. The intense forward lean of concentration softens. She leans back just slightly. Her shoulders, which were perhaps tensed imperceptibly, now relax. She lets out a long, slow breath, a sigh not of tiredness but of completion, of satisfaction. A small part of the world is finished. A small piece of the dream is made real. Her hands rest now in her lap. Her gaze, which was so intensely focused on the fine lines of ink, now lifts. It softens. Her eyes, perhaps slightly strained from the close work, now seek distance. They seek space. They seek the infinite. Her head tilts upward, slowly. Her gaze drifts away from the warm golden circle of the candlelight, away from the vast, intricate surface of the map. It drifts upward and outward, toward the window. One of the great arched windows set deep into the ancient stone, the window that looks out, not onto the dark rolling land below, but out into the pure black velvet of space. The stone arch frames the view like a great cathedral window. The glass is thick, ancient, perhaps slightly distorted. It is not a perfect lens. It is a portal, a threshold between the small, warm human world inside and the vast, cold, silent cosmic world outside. And the view. The view is breathtaking. It stops your breath. It stills your thoughts. It is the universe in its full majestic glory. The blackness is absolute, a perfect void, a backdrop so deep it feels as though you could fall into it forever. And against this perfect black are the stars, millions, billions, sprinkled like diamond dust, like luminous sand. They are not flat. They have depth. Some seem close, bright and sharp, pinpricks of intense light. Others are faint, misty whispers of light from unimaginable distances. And the colors. You can truly see the colors. Brilliant blue-white stars burning fiercely, soft yellow stars like friendly lamps, deep glowing red stars like ancient embers. They fill the entire window, a field of jewels. A silent, uncaring, and utterly magnificent display. And stretching across this field is the river. The Milky Way. It is not just a faint smudge. From here it is a tangible thing. A broad luminous cloud. A river of light made of billions upon billions of stars, so distant they merge into a single glowing mist. It looks like spun silver, like celestial smoke. It winds its way through the blackness, a silent, majestic current. It evokes a feeling of scale, of immensity, that is almost too much to comprehend. It makes the tower feel like a tiny grain of sand. It makes your own breath feel infinitesimal. And yet it is not frightening. It is peaceful, profoundly peaceful and nestled. Within this river of light, or perhaps hanging just beside it, is the nebula, the great cloud of gas and dust. It fills a large portion of the window's view. It is vast, impossibly vast, and it is colored. The starlight shining through it and exciting the gases paints it with the most ethereal hues. Deep royal purples bleed into soft rose pinks. Tendrils of emerald green twist through clouds of misty blue. It is not static. It is not a painting. It is alive. As you watch, or rather as Elara watches, you can see the colors shift. It is the slowest motion imaginable, almost imperceptible, like watching continents drift. But the colors undulate. They flow into each other. A swirl of purple deepens, a vein of green brightens faintly. It is like watching cosmic ink blooming in celestial water. It is the universe breathing, creating, painting itself. It is a sight that inspires awe, a deep, silent wonder. Elara sits motionless, her head tilted back, her eyes wide. She is drinking it in. This is her other map, her true map, the map that contains all others. The map that inspires her own tiny creations. The warm golden candlelight of her room reflects faintly in her eyes. Two tiny golden stars looking out at a billion real ones. She is small, infinitesimal. A tiny speck of life on a small moon orbiting a distant planet. But she is connected. She is a part of this. She is a witness. She is a consciousness observing the grandeur. And in that observation there is a kind of participation, a kind of belonging. She feels not lost but found, not insignificant but precious, held, safe in the vast, silent embrace of the cosmos. The contrast is profound. On the table before her lies her map. A world measured in inches, defined by tiny lines of ink, smelling of earth and plants imagined, filled with places she has dreamed, the sleepy mountains, the whispering woods. It is a map of human scale, a map of comfort, a map of peace, and through the window lies the other map. The map measured in light years, defined by gravity and fusion, smelling of nothing, of vacuum, filled with forces and distances beyond comprehension. A map of terrifying majority, a map of profound silence. And yet, both are beautiful, both are true, both are part of the same story. Her map is a reflection, a tiny, warm human reflection of the great, cold, divine one. She draws peace because she sees the vast peace of the stars. She draws wonder because she sees the unimaginable wonder of the nebula. She is translating. She is bringing the cosmos down to earth, or rather down to parchment. She sits like this for a long time, just looking, just breathing, just being. The candle flames flicker softly, casting dancing shadows on the stone walls. The map on the table waits patiently. The room is filled with the sweet scent of beeswax, and outside the stars turn. The nebula shifts its colors imperceptibly. The universe continues its great silent dance. It is a moment of perfect stillness, of perfect connection, of perfect peace. And then slowly, gently, Alara returns. Her gaze lowers, down from the infinite expanse, down from the stars. Her head tilts forward. Her eyes refocus. They leave the cold blue light of the cosmos. They return to the warm golden light of her candles, to the familiar comfort of her room. She looks down at the map, at the unfinished coastline, at the newly drawn river. She is refreshed. She is calmed. She is inspired. She has brought back a little piece of the starlight with her. She reaches once more for her quill. She is ready to continue, ready to add her own tiny verse to the great cosmic poem. Alara returns. Her spirit, which soared for a moment among the stars and the nebula, now settles back gently into her small warm room. She has brought the peace of the cosmos back with her. It lingers in her soft gaze, in her slow, even breath. She looks down at the great map spread like a sleeping continent before her. It glows warmly in the candlelight. She picks up not the black ink quill nor the blue. She selects a different one with a very fine point. She reaches for a different pot of ink, a small stone pot filled with a pale, almost invisible ink, perhaps silver or moonglow. She dips the quill, just the very tip. She brings it to the map. She is not drawing lines now. She is adding details. She finds a small mountain peak in the range of the Sleepy Mountains, and she adds a tiny symbol, a tiny spark, perhaps a hidden shrine, or a place of silent power. Her hand is steady. The quill moves with a whisper, so faint it is almost just the idea of sound. A soft, dry passage over the ancient skin. She works, but her pace is different now. The intense, focused energy of creation has softened. It has become a meditation, a gentle winding down. Her movements are slower, more languid. She adds a tiny symbol to the heart of the whispering woods, perhaps a sacred grove. She adds a faint shimmer to the surface of the river Lethe, a hint of its forgetful magic. Each touch is light, each addition is small. She is not building now, she is adorning. She is blessing. She is tucking her world in for the night. The room is filled with a profound sense of peace. The warmth from a small stone hearth in the corner, where embers glow softly, radiates gently through the space. It mixes with the warmth of the candles. The air is still, heavy with the scent of beeswax and paper and the faint herbal aroma from her cooling tea. The only sound is the soft breath of the candle flames, a sound so gentle it feels like the sound of silence itself. Outside, the universe continues its great silent dance. The stars shine cold and bright. The nebula glows with its ethereal colors. The great ringed planet turns slowly on its axis. All is vast. All is silent. All is at peace. And inside, in her small stone tower, Ilara mirrors that peace. Her small warm room is a tiny reflection of the great calm outside. A human-scale cosmos, she continues her gentle work. The whisper of the quill on the parchment is the only sound of action. Shh. It is a soothing sound. A repetitive sound, like waves lapping on a distant shore, or like wind rustling through dry leaves. It is a sound that draws you in, a sound that makes your own thoughts slow down, makes your own breath deepen. Shh. Her eyelids begin to feel heavy. The long hours of focus, the warmth of the room, the gentle flickering light, the hypnotic whisper of the quill. They are all conspiring. They are all inviting her to rest. Her movements become even slower, more dreamlike. She adds a final tiny sparkle to the map, a dot of silver light on a distant island. And then she stops. She lifts the quill. She does not clean it this time. She simply places it back in its stand. Its journey is over for the night. Her hands, which were so focused, so precise, now relax. They rest lightly on the edge of the great map. Her shoulders slump just a little. Her head bows slightly. She is not looking at the map anymore. She is looking inward, or perhaps nowhere at all. The candles continue their soft dance. Their golden light washes over her still figure. It illuminates the dark wood of the table, the rich colors of the map, the sleeping scrolls on the shelves, the rough gray stone of the walls. The room is a jewel box, warm and glowing, and at its center is Ilara, the keeper, the dreamer. She feels the pull, the gentle, insistent gravity of sleep. It is not a force to be fought. It is a current to be joined, a soft, warm river flowing towards a sea of rest. Her breath is deep and slow. She breathes in the sweet air of beeswax and paper. She breathes out a long, silent sigh. Letting go, her body is heavy, heavy with a pleasant weariness, the weariness of good work done, of quiet creation. Her arms are heavy. Her legs are heavy. Her head feels heavy on her neck. It wants to rest. She could go to the small cot in the corner, hidden in the shadows. But no, not yet. Here at her table, surrounded by her worlds, illuminated by her candles, watched over by the stars. This is where sleep finds her. Her head bows lower. Her chin touches her chest. Her dark hair falls forward like a soft curtain. Her hands remain resting on the edge of the map, as if even in sleep she is connected to her creations. Her breathing becomes even slower, even deeper. The long, slow rhythm of sleep. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. She is drifting. She is no longer Ilara, the cartographer. She is a part of the room, a part of the tower, a part of the night. She is floating in the warm, golden light. She is floating in the sweet, scented air. She is floating in the deep cosmic silence, broken only by the whisper of the flames. She is drifting perhaps into one of the worlds on her map, walking through the whispering woods, floating down the river Lethe, resting high in the sleepy mountains. Her body is here, still peaceful, but her spirit is traveling, mapping new dreams. The candles burn low. Their flames continue their gentle dance. They keep watch. The map glows softly with its subtle magic. It holds its secrets. The stars outside the window continue their great silent journey across the vast black expanse. They keep watch. The tower stands solid and silent in the cool night air. It keeps watch. Everything is in its place. Everything is at peace. Ilara sleeps, held in the heart of her creation, held in the heart of the night, and you too can feel the pull, the gentle invitation, the warmth, the quiet, the soft flickering light, the slow rhythm of her breath. They are all calling to you, inviting you to join her, to let go, to drift, to find your own quiet center, to find your own deep rest. You are safe here. You are warm. You are at peace. It is time to sleep. Sleep now. The candles are burning. The stars are watching. The map is dreaming. Rest, sleep, good night.